Hi everyone, and welcome to Pure Love Season 2, Episode 1, Gender Revealed.
Hi everyone, we are happy to be back. It's been a little while since we've been on our channel. We needed a little break. The last episode we have was about birth, and right now my daughter Amanda is how many months now, or weeks?
30 weeks.
30 weeks. So soon she will be having my grandchild.
2.5 months.
Yes, very exciting. And so something that keeps on coming up throughout her entire pregnancy is everyone keeps on asking what?
What is the gender? Do you know the gender yet?
Or what do you want? What are you hoping for?
Yeah.
Or what kind of clothes should I buy? And so how's that making you feel?
It's very, very annoying and irritating for me. I made it very clear from the very beginning of this pregnancy that I do not wish to know the assigned gender of the baby, and it doesn't matter to me. And whatever I am blessed with is what I'm blessed with, and I'm happy either way. But still, throughout, yesterday, about 4 or 5 people asked me again, or my friend complains about, oh, it's hard to get a gift because I don't know what the gender is. It's really irritating. I don't get everyone's preoccupation with genitals. For me, the most important thing is health. For me and for the baby. How am I feeling? How's the baby growing? Not what's dangling between their legs. But for everyone, it's super duper important already to know what they are.
It's interesting in doing doing work in LGBT communities and just feminist work, mujerista work, and thinking about gender. I mean, or sex, right? Thinking about sex and how when we are assigned our sex at birth, everything changes, right? So everybody wants to know if you're going to have a boy or girl, not only because of the clothing, but we have to really realize that it goes beyond that, right? It's about how we even talk, how even people talk to the belly, right? If they think it's a girl or they think it's a boy. And this is where I'm I have to say, I was really, really happy when you started posting on Facebook and stuff you don't want to know the gender, you're not going to have a gender reveal party. And the baby shower is coming up this weekend.
This weekend, yeah.
And a lot of people have been asking, and I don't think it's really difficult to buy a newborn baby anything. I don't think it's difficult at all. There's Pampers, there's bottles, there's
as long as there's onesies and socks,
right,
pants,
all of those things. But it becomes something so
they cannot get over it,
or the relationship that they're going to have or want to have with the child depends on, like you said, what is dangling between their legs, or what we perceive, right? And so I know that I always wish that I could sometimes turn back the hands of time in terms of like even the way I named you, like my I guess education or information came afterwards as you were growing up, and I think at about maybe 4 years old I was like much more um, thinking about the toys that you got or the toys that people were getting you. Um, they were all dolls and stuff, and I kept on saying that I wanted a wide variety of like toys that she can play with. So, you had trucks, you had dolls, you had all these things, and then even when it came to clothing as well, there were pictures of you.
Very androgynous.
Yeah, very androgynous, and I think you went through the spectrum. There are pictures of her wearing dresses, really flowy, frilly dresses, and then there are other pictures that I think a lot of people thought you were a boy because
overalls and sneakers and t-shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted that on purpose because I wanted you not to. I didn't want to create a box for you. I wanted you to figure it out on your own, right? Like, I mean, not that it's void of society because we don't live in a cave somewhere, So society does have an imprint on like how we perceive what it means to be female and what it means to be male. And no matter what, my daughter is a woman in this world, and sexism, patriarchy and sexism do exist in the world, and so like how to talk about possible clothing that she wants to wear or toys that she wants to play with and how that's associated with certain things. I remember around like Christmas time, which we never I think we celebrated that up until a certain age, and then
probably like
we started
9 or
doing
something.
Kwanzaa, and then even that ended because everybody wanted commercial things. But I remember I think somebody bought you like a toy gun or something like that.
Oh yeah, that was the big no weapons.
No. and then it was interesting because they actually thought they were doing something cool because it was a boy's toy. But for me it was like I don't want any kind of like toy, even video games that had to do with killing or shooting people or anything like that. And it's interesting that is definitely associated with boys, right?
Aggression.
Right.
Violence.
So then at the baby shower, I'm really eager to see like what it is you do get, and if clothing is a part of that, what did people, because they get so wrapped up with the colors, right?
Yeah.
With the colors, it's like the pink and the blue, and it's really serious.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like there's still like I'd like my family members too, and I'm like, I've already clearly said this numerous times. Every time you ask me about the baby, every time they check in, so you sure you don't know? You sure you don't want to know? Well, what do you hope it is? And I'm like, it does not matter. I just want 10 fingers and toes, like 2 eyes, like regular stuff. Coincidentally, though, and I have to say thank you to the queer community, you guys are the only ones who understand why gender does not matter to me. Like, have not at all been asked by a queer person after I stated that I didn't care. They've never asked me. No one. Like, even people who are, like, arm's reach, like, even if they're just Facebook friends, they understand and respect it and don't even, it's dropped. Everyone else keeps bothering me.
Let me ask you this question, because this is what I often hear too when people get to the point where like I don't want another gender, I'm gonna try to raise a child, that's very fluid and the spectrum and all that stuff. Most people often say, all I want is a healthy child, right? And even in hearing you say that, and I know that it's not on purpose, right? But then we also have to realize the language we use in terms of like ableist language, right? So what does healthy mean, right? Because you just said 10 fingers, 10 toes, and I know that's just like, that's regurgitated language that people use all the time about, do they have 10 fingers? Do they have 10 toes? Do they have 2 eyes? And so what if they didn't? You know what I mean? And
still unconditional love, but I understand where you're coming
right,
from.
Because it's like we have to also we want people to realize the conversation around gender and patriarchy and sexism, and it doesn't really matter. And then even within that, because I said that too in the past, like we often say very ableist language about all I want is a healthy baby. And then like, so then what is a healthy baby? What is the definition of a healthy baby? Does that mean, what shifts if we have a child with mental health issues or physical disabilities or anything like that, right? So I feel like it's interesting talking about the gender language. It actually shifts a lot for me in terms of gender, ability, conversation, and all that. So then what do we want? Then what is it that we want when someone is pregnant and having a child? What do we wish for people to have? Yeah, I guess that's a good question for all of us to think about. Like, what kind of language do I use in describing this human that's going to be coming soon, and what really matters, right?
Yeah. What's more important? It seems like before anything else, it's what's the gender, and then after that, it's everything.
Yeah.
I see that's definitely like right in the front is what are you? And I'm like, why are you? It's so like for something that is a new person, something that's still developing, let it develop. Right. You have to wait till it comes to fruition. You can't it's like, you can't know before it happens, just let it happen. Because who knows? That could be what they put on the birth certificate, but who knows 4, 5, 6 years later, 10, 20, that might change, So I'm like, there's so many other things that are more concerning than if you have a penis or a vagina or both or neither.
Yeah. And I guess I would like to leave this like food for thought around, people who are witnessing other people about to give birth or having a family or about to adopt, that, I'm thinking, of course, about sex and gender, but also ability, because that comes up. And then also, like think about when a child is born, like how they look at the skin tone, how fat or skinny, how big or small, and even how that shifts, right? Because sometimes with little babies, it's so wonderful when they're so chunky and beautiful and everything, but then they hit a certain age where it's like, okay, that chunkiness is no good. So then there's the fat phobia. I'm actually like thinking about all of the ways in which from the beginning
we're not allowed to be ourselves.
We just start with that. Are they light? Are they dark? Are they a boy or are they a girl? Are they, do they have 10 fingers?
Is there hair? Is there no hair? Are you fat? Are you small?
And how we interact with that little baby and how it shifts when that baby has language and words and is talking. Everything shifts. So I guess that's what I want to leave, that kind of food for thought. How have we interacted like that? And how can we change that to really like be more aware of the way that we speak about these new lives coming into the world, and what kind of slate do we want to start off for them?
Clean. Always a clean slate. They're brand new to this world. They don't need to come in with our insecurities projected on them already.
Is it possible? Is it possible? Yeah, food for thought. Please send in your questions, any comments. Let us know what kind of topics you want to hear about in season 2. We're really excited to be back.
Thanks for having us.
All right, y'all.
See you next time.
Hey everyone, the Heal Project really wants to know about you. If you're a caregiver, and we identify caregiver as a parent, a legal guardian, adoptive parent, anyone who is an advocate, works with young people, or has a young person in their life, like an aunt, uncle, grandparent. We would love to hear from you about your experiences with children and young people in talking to them about sex or not. So check it out, igrivera.com. Thanks a lot.
one day told me to kneel down and pray, for unto me a man child would be born. Oh, this crazy circumstance, I knew his life deserved a chance, but everybody told me to be smart. Look at your career, they said, Lauren, baby, use your head. But instead I chose to use my heart. Now the joy of my world is in Zion. Now the joy of my world is in Zion. How beautiful is nothing more than to wait at Zion's door. I've never been in love like this before. Now let me pray to keep you from the perils that will surely come.